Hey there, Nicole Havlicek here from PrimeTime Pickleball. Today we're going to break down some power options, specifically 3 power options that you can use on your third instead of the drop. A drop is still very effective and used often to transition yourself from the baseline to the non-volley zone, but whenever you can, you want to impose offense into your game. And hitting power shots on your third shots is a great way to do that and establish yourself offensively in the point and take charge of that point. And these are the types of power shots you're going to want to use on third shots to really create that offensive opportunity for yourself. And it's important to note that not all power shots are created equal. There's a variety within the type of power shots that you can use, and we're going to break down the top 3 for you here today. The first type is pure power. Let's take a look at Ben Johns using that power third here. There it is, and Pablo Teaz here misses it. And that's essentially what you're going for on the power third, is to potentially draw a miss or create a very weak reply. This is the most offensive power third you can use. Anytime you're balanced and can step into it and really unload onto it, you're going to want to do that because it does create problems for your opponents. And the downsides are limited. They're really not going to be able to punish you on this type of shot. Next up, we're going to take a look here at Ben Johns again. Still hitting a power drive, but with more control and with some topspin. On this one, you're probably not going to generate a miss necessarily, but you'll generate a more subdued reply, something more neutral like Pablo hits right here that Ben can then drop and come in behind. So that's really your goal there. You're not trying to overwhelm them or knock their block off. You're just trying to hit a controlled drive that gives you an opportunity to advance to that non-volley zone line. So here you're not super pressed by the incoming shot necessarily, but you also can't really impose yourself on it either. See how Ben here has to move to his right. He can't really step into it, and he puts some topspin on it for nice control and safety, so he can still hit that power. And the topspin helps to bend that down, which is safer for him, but still creates problems for Teaz, who can't really be offensive with this, and he just knocks it back, and it's kind of short. And then this team up here on the near side can advance to the net. So this shot is designed to still apply pressure, but it's safer for you. Now the last one here, we have a pretty good example of Teaz here hitting it, and it's the heavy dipper. So it's got a lot of topspin. See how he hits it, and it's crossing low to the net. Ben's contact point is pretty low, and that's the idea. You want to hit a low shot crossing the net with heavy spin so that your opponent has to reach down to hit it, and it'll create that shorter ball here for you, which it does. And then Teaz, from this position here, he can either drive it again with a dipper again, or like more of a controlled topspin, or he can elect to drop it and follow it in, and they can advance to the non-volley zone line. So this heavy dipper, it's a bit more high risk. I'd say the first two, the pure drive and the topspin control drive, are the two you're going to want to use most. But whenever the opportunity presents itself, this heavy topspin dipper is a great option to mix in as well, because it creates a different look. The opponent has a low contact point, and that's always good. The topspin is diving down, which really applies more pressure, which is helpful as well. The one downside to this one is that you do have to hit it pretty tight to the net. So you're going to need to be really accurate while hitting heavy spin. So your margin of safety is lower, but it's certainly something you can train up and get very good at. So the most margin of safety and the easiest way to hit this shot would be to go cross court. So for Teaz, it would be easiest from here, even though he does a great job hitting it from here. So you want to train that down the line option as well. And for a righty, the easiest one would be to go this way, and your target can be somewhat to the outside of the court. That's often best, but certainly train it up down the line as well, and make sure you're getting it low to the net with lots of spin. And it's really impossible for them to do any damage because they have to hit up on it. There's a high likelihood you could get something to attack, or at the very least something you can advance in the court behind. Let's take a quick look at a righty hitting this cross court, which is me. I'm a right-handed player, and I'm going to hit this heavy dipper cross court. So just take a look at how that would look. So look at how I got him into a very low contact. What's he going to do with that? The chances of someone hitting that into the tape is really good, which he happened to do here, or it's just going to kind of be like that. There's a lot I can do with that type of reply. I can either hit another drive or I can drop it and come in. Okay, now let's take a look at some more nuances of these shots, how you're going to hit them and how you're going to train them. So I brought out my trusty slinger bag here. You can also do this with a partner. As you saw here, I had a partner and basically he was just feeding it to me, and I was either driving, hitting a topspin one, or hitting a heavy dipper, and he was doing his best just to keep me back in the court, and that's how we would do it. Obviously, another good option is to bust out the ball machine, as I've done here. In this particular example, this is the pure drive. Let's look at some nuance here about it. I took, looks like one down the line here and then one cross court. So you're going to want to be able to really lay into those in both directions, depending on who you're wanting to target and for what reason. There could be reasons you want to go down the line or cross court. So you're definitely going to want to be able to command both of those power shots in either direction. So I'm really trying to get through it, have a pretty flat trajectory, get it as low as I can crossing the net. So depth is really not a factor since the opponents are going to be up at that non-volley zone line, and that's what you need to think about. All right, we'll take a look at the side angle later. Next up here is the more controlled topspin. Looks like I just have one example here that I took down the line, but of course you also want to go cross court with it. You'll notice that the height that it's crossing the net right here is a little bit higher. I'm really going more for control and margin of safety while still having some power on it. And remember, when you have topspin on that shot, when the ball hits their paddle and when it comes off the face, the topspin on it is going to tend to send the ball up. So the likelihood of them popping it up a little increases if they didn't close their face enough to counter the topspin I'm putting on the ball. And off a shot like this, they really can't punish me. The best they can do is keep me back again. And the worst they can do, obviously is miss it or give me something that I can attack again or come in behind. Remember that that's the goal with this one. All right, let's take a closer look here at the heavy dipper. There's one cross court. I think I was going all cross court on these. I think I hit 3. Look, so here, that one was just behind the non-volley zone line. That one was also just behind the non-volley zone line. That one too. Yeah, so they're all landing really short thanks to that heavy spin I'm putting on it, and I'm keeping it really low crossing the net. So your accuracy on these while putting topspin on it has to be very good. It's something you're really going to need to train up quite a bit. You don't see this shot used as much, but I believe it's going to be used more and more as players get better at this type of shot. But it'll still be used the least out of the 3 in my opinion, because the range of incoming shots in terms of how short they are, how much to the right or the left they are, and how much they're deep or short and pressing you or not pressing you is smaller. So that's really just another way of saying that the number of shots that you're going to have the opportunity to hit this shot on are less. The stars have to align a little bit more in terms of the incoming shot you get in order to really take a crack at this shot where this shot is feasible. Since it is the toughest of the 3, so you have to be really confident. You have to be really well set up in order to pull this shot off. There's still a few important things to cover here, but please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe and hit that bell icon. It really helps increase the reach of our videos so we can get this information out to more people. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, now let's take a look at the side-by-side view of these 3 different types of shots. Don't worry, I'm going to slow it down. I know this is fast. So this is the pure drive, this is the controlled topspin drive, and this is the heavy dipper. In real time, they look nearly identical, but there definitely are some key differences. So let's slow this down here. Let's focus on first the differences between these 2, the pure drive and the controlled topspin. So take a look at those. I'll break them down here. So they're looking pretty similar. Here's where the differences start. So I get this paddle head just a little bit down lower, which makes sense because I'm going to need to get under it and to come up the back a bit more than on this one in order to produce that topspin, which you'll see in a moment here, the rest of the swing path. Okay, notice how I get through this one, and this one I'm going a little bit more low to high as I get through that ball, which makes sense because of the controlled topspin. And notice, let's look at the ending footwork of that one there. Get this out of the way. Notice how I really unloaded into that one, and I had to catch the momentum of my weight transfer with this foot here, right? So I really kinetically unwound the most into this shot, which you can see by the footwork. Okay, and one thing I want to point out about all three is I do hit them all here out of this relatively open stance position. At times I might hit, in particular, the pure drive out of a closed stance, but for the topspin and the heavy dipper, those are going to be more of an open stance position. Open stance is super versatile. So, when in doubt, you can definitely use open stance. Okay, now let's take a quick look at the differences between this one and that one. So focus on those two as I start over here. All right, so we're looking pretty similar. Here, notice how I have to drop this paddle head even further on this one. So it's a progressive dropping. Here I'm trying to get flat through so I don't drop it as much. Here I want some topspin, so I do get down a little. Here I want even more topspin, so I have to get down under it more to really come more vertical. That's the primary difference between these three swings. So here, yeah, notice how this is still going up as I go forward, and this is going even more up. And you'll notice, so on this one I get quite vertical and it finishes a little bit closer to my head, and this one's still going up, although not as vertical, and I'll finish just a little further away. Let's see that here on the finish. Right? So this one's a little tighter to my head. This one's a little further away from my head, as you can see. So those are the three different types of power third shots you can use. The pure drive, the topspin drive, that still has power on it, but it's a little more controlled, and then the heavy dipper. The drop is still effective and used all the time, but these are the ones that you're going to want to use when you can be a little more offensive with that, whether it be the third shot or something a little bit later in the point. Lastly, I just want to show quickly the settings I used for the slinger bag. Here are the front facing settings, and the incline is set to 20. As I mentioned, the drop is still really important and vital to the game, and definitely something you're going to need if you want to be an advanced player. And there's a lot of nuance to drops as well in terms of slice, topspin, more flat drop, when to use which ones, how to hit each one. And in order to help you with that, I've created an ultimate guide to how to hit the third shot drop, all those different varieties I just mentioned. So go ahead and click this video here so that you can have all the different types of third shots in your toolbox, whether those be power third shots or soft third shots. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you in the next video.